First tonight, experts meeting this morning at Grand Valley State University to discuss the growing concerns over PFAS contamination.
Our Darren Cunningham live in studio after attending that roundtable, hearing from experts who say the current regulations on those chemicals aren't harsh enough. Darren.
Yes, good evening. Several people spoke, including a woman who lost her husband to cancer while living in a PFAS-devastated area. Senator Peters says a few of the big takeaways from today's panel discussion is the need for federal regulations on PFAS control, transparency, and the need to take action.
That when future geologists are digging the strata of rock, which will be millions of years from now, you'll actually find PFAS chemicals still in that strata of rock.
Senator Gary Peters describing what's been called an indestructible chemical by scientists and discussing what the government can do to clean up and stop the use of PFAS. For Sandy Winstelt of Belmont, this panel came together too late for her and her neighbors. She lost her husband in 2016.
He was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer, and he died 3 weeks later. And so after being married 25 years, my world was completely rocked.
She's lived on House Street for nearly 3 decades, around what's now known to be an old tannery site of Wolverine Worldwide, where their barrels contaminated the groundwater with PFAS.
In 2017, my blood was tested and was found to have, I think it's 5 million parts per trillion.
This expert says PFAS levels above 21 parts per trillion may be of concern. Also on the panel, Bob Delaney, an employee with the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, featured by Fox 17 last year. And just like then, Tuesday, he told Peters how he presented his PFAS concerns to the Snyder administration in 2010 and again in 2012. But they did nothing.
The problem was we were just not in a cultural environment where people were really willing to face these kind of issues. And so, you know, the politicians reflect where the culture's at.
Delaney says he wrote the 2012 report in hopes of reaching critical mass, a point where there's enough concern and momentum to take action. He says he believes society has finally reached that point and that the federal government is stepping in where the state of Michigan failed.
The biggest takeaway is that we have to come up with a federal standard. There has to be a uniform standard put in place. It has to happen quickly. Certainly, hearing from the witnesses, it's going to take some time for science, but I think it's very clear that people can't wait.
Not present at the panel discussion today, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, although Peters says they did submit a letter. He said he'll continue to press them, the EPA that is, while he's in Washington to help move communities across the country forward in eliminating PFAS use and finding safer alternatives. Live in the studio this evening, Darren Cunningham, Fox 17 News.